Well, I spend a lot of time in the paper, in the newspaper, and I'll probably be in the paper today because I've already started the process of stripping. Now, I came here with the tie on, and I've taken the tie off, and since our feet are going to be to the fire, I'm going to take my jacket off now.
I think you have to go down to the blue light district.
Now, that would be the dark light district for me. Good morning. Good morning. It's really a pleasure to be here. I think the topic of this gathering is, although it's been an issue of public debate or a topic of public debate for many, many years, we can't talk too much about it. And so I welcome the discussion, the topic, and I'm glad this group has decided to pull together a panel to talk about it. I particularly want to thank President Bennett for inviting me to speak at this group, and Councilman Zone. Where's Councilman Zone? There he is, Councilman Zone, for extending the invitation. Thank you. I appreciate it. Before I get started, well, just so you know what I'm going to talk about, on the agenda it says I have 25 minutes. I don't know that I've ever said anything in 25 minutes. So I will try. I'll do my best. There's so much to talk about as it pertains to the Cleveland airport system. And when you roll in the perspective of regionalism, there's even more to talk about. So I'll try to say what I'm going to say in 25 minutes, but I need to add some context. First, so you'll know a little bit about me, so that'll help you have a feel for how I behave, why I behave, how I think, why I think the way I do, my passion for airports. I've spent most of my professional career, at least the last 18 to 20 years, in transportation, most of that in airport management. All of that, from an airport perspective, at Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport. I've had the great pleasure of serving as a leader in almost every major function in the airport business. So I bring a broad perspective of airport management. You'll find that most airport directors come through one functional line of the organization, either operations or marketing or planning or engineering or what have you. I've had the pleasure or the benefit of having the experience in each of those areas. So my perspective tends to be pretty broad. You'll also find if you I'll tell you what, I can do this. This works better for me if this thing's come. Yeah. This doesn't come out. Okay, he's asking me not to. I'll tell you what, I'll just speak up. Why don't I try doing that? I'll speak up. That's the old-fashioned way of doing it. Okay, I'll just speak up. Another aspect of me is I've also been very active in the industry. I'm on several boards in the industry, including the American Association of Airport Executives, their policy review, the Policy Advisory Group, which is a group of national airport executives that, in essence, set policy for aviation in the industry, at least from the airport perspective. The Airport Minority Advisory Council, which is a similar organization taking forward issues pertinent to minorities in aviation, and then a host of others, the Transportation Research Board and stuff like that. So I also bring an industry perspective, and that is important because you'll find the kinds of initiatives that I push for may be somewhat controversial locally, may be somewhat controversial in Cleveland, but these are initiatives that if you go from one airport to another across the country are rather routine. They're not controversial at all. Let me talk about port control. Just a few conversations I've had this morning has made it obvious to me that not everyone understands what port control is, what my responsibility includes. It includes the Cleveland Airport system, which is Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, as well as Burke Lakefront Airport. And then it also includes this other responsibility that has been ignored for several years, and that is the harbors division. That responsibility includes managing and developing all of the city's waterfront property, the city-owned property along Lake Erie and along the Cuyahoga River. And so that is a function that I won't talk about much today, but it is a function that is important to us, and Commissioner Bahar has taken the leadership of that. That is one of the new divisions under his leadership. Why is the Cleveland Airport system important from a regional standpoint? You'll find in almost every municipality, in any metropolitan region, that the economic stability of that region goes hand in hand with the stability of the airport. If the airport's growing, then the region tends to grow as well. Now, one might argue, may take on that chicken or egg argument, but from an airport director, I may be biased. I think the airport in those regions drive the economy, or at least serves as an impetus for growth and stability in the economy of that region. And so from a regional standpoint here, to the extent that we can grow, that we can stabilize and grow the Cleveland Airport system, and when I'm talking Cleveland Airport system, I'm talking specifically about the two airports I'm responsible for, but you have to also acknowledge the county's airport as a major factor in that economic stability as well, and other airports in the region. But as the airport goes, so does the economy. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about why perhaps the airport has not been the optimum or the maximum impact on the region's economy as it should have been, and some of the steps that we've taken to make that happen, to improve that situation. So I'll talk about CLE first, Cleveland Hopkins. You notice there's somewhat of a shift from Hopkins or Cleveland Hopkins to CLE. It is recognized many places in the industry by its by those codes, and so you notice our marketing campaign, we make reference to CLE. That's a new branding approach that we're taking. Cleveland Hopkins over the years has been an organization that's been politically driven to a very large degree. That's no secret in Cleveland, that's no secret in the industry. When I decided to come here, I received many warnings from my colleagues in the industry going to Cleveland to run its airport system because it has a history of being a very political environment. I think that is a reputation that is not deserved, but anyway, the fact of the matter, that is a reputation. And so one of the first things I set out to do was to address the management function of the organization. We had a management team in the past that was not necessarily a team of airport experts or of experienced airport experts. They were very sound professionals in the area, but they were not necessarily experienced airport professionals. The airport also lacked a marketing strategy. Many of you who watch television, if you have a chance to watch television, you would see the very aggressive campaign waged by Akron-Canton Regional Airport. And Cleveland Hopkins would never show up on your radar screen. The airport clearly did not engage in marketing to a significant degree, did not have a strategy, there was not an identity for the airport. There were also questionable business practices with the airport. And we find ourselves dealing with those every day, even as I'm here. But questionable business practices that would shake or at least cause some pause on the part of our significant stakeholders at the airport and also our colleagues in the industry. The image of the airport was poor. You hear stories about the taxi service and how dismal the taxi service was. You hear concerns about the commitment of our hub carrier. So a host of those kinds of uncertainties just led to a poor image of the airport. And then there was no vision. There was really no communicated vision as to where the airport was going. And so all of these factors somewhat handicapped the airport's ability to make an impact on the region from an economic standpoint that most thriving airports do.